to make the I-cord stitch, you just need to put one stitch on your needle, so usually do that with like a slip knot. Then we're going to have our I-cord start here. So we're going to go into this stitch here, and we're going to bring our yarn. This part is always very tricky. So we're going to bring it around the needle and pull it through the stitch. So now we have 2 stitches on our needles. Then we're just going to make our I-cord. So to make an I-cord, you pull your needle to the other end. If you're using DP ends, you just slide it over, but you have to have a needle with you that has 2 ends, not a straight needle. So now your working yarn is on the back of your second stitch, but you're going to just knit regularly into your first stitch and then into your second stitch, and then just pull your needle through, give that a little tug, knit into your first stitch, into your second stitch, pull the needle through, repeat, just keep knitting that strand over again until you get to the desired amount. For this pattern and for our buttons, that means we're going to have a I-cord that is 2 inches long. I don't know the math offhand. I think that's what my ruler's for. 2 inches long, which is 5 centimeters. So, we're barely there. So we've got a little ways to go. But I will meet you when we have a full 2 inches. Okay, it looks like we are about there. We're going to take a break and check with our ruler here. So I would usually measure in inches, but you can of course use centimeters as well. We're going to measure it from our needle end. So we do have a good 2 inches, just a little over, that's fine, because we're going to connect it around and wrap it. So for the next part, we actually are going to bind off. So we just knit both stitches once again, pull this stitch over top of this stitch, so there's one needle, pull the yarn a little ways out, take your scissors and cut it off. Then we're going to take our tapestry needle and we're going to end up creating a loop. So we're going to bring this end right next to this end here, and we're going to sew it in. I like to find, so we picked up this stitch here, we're going to go through the stitch right next to that and kind of give it a tug. And then I like to go into the I-cord stitch that we made and go under into the next stitch, cast it on, or on the fabric, I mean. And then I kind of just go back through everything, including that first I-cord, the tail end, I mean, because we're going to make it as secure as possible. So we just do a lot of weaving. Back and forth. Sometimes we go through the I-cord ends so that we can grab them and pull it tight. We'll go back down through the fabric and through the beginning I-cord as well. And then at the end, to kind of make it a little more invisible and secure, but you can see that's very secure, it's not going anywhere. And then I always like to weave in my ends by kind of hiding them in the back. So I kind of do a little weave, and then when I get to the tail, I just pull it through a lot of stitches and I give it a tug and I cut it and then I pull the fabric out, and so the tail end's hidden inside the fabric, and then I will do the same for the front end. But you'll see we have this beautiful little I-cord loop. We're going to make another one right here, and then we'll have those beautiful little loops for our buttons.